growing up, I was always the fat nerd and sometimes the simp as well. Ever since a young age, I like to binge eat junk food and not just exercise because, like I said, I was a nerd. So sports and exercise weren't really a part of my identity. In fact, if in the PE period, like physical education period in school, I was always assigned positions like the goalkeeper or the defender, and not no shade to goalkeepers and defenders, but the point is I couldn't run as fast to play forward, and so they just put me back. And since I didn't really like those positions, I just quit. Man, things pile up. You grow, you get even fatter, you get even more nerdy, and that happened until all the way till the COVID lockdown, 2020. After that, I, started watching some sitcoms. I started watching, How I Met Your Mother, Friends, all these things. And that just ignited a drive in me to, get fit so I could so I could get involved in nightlife. And that was my first push for that. What I did was I stopped eating food and I started doing HIIT cardio for an hour or 2 hours a day, and it just ended up me in being really skinny fat. But skip forward. I discovered self-improvement and I go on this bulk because obviously now I'm super skinny fat. I put on some muscle. I feel confident in myself for the first time. I actually have a mature purpose, and I'm not just, trying to chase girls here and there everywhere. And in 12th grade, when I was 16 years old, about to be 17, for the first time in my life, I started attracting girls. Well, it just started with a girl, and let's call her V. So V was kind of the popular girl, and I think half the reason that she liked me was because I didn't I didn't pay her much attention. It's some girls are just they their whole world breaks apart when you don't give them attention, and that was probably her. I was still looking a bit better, but I was no way the best looking guy in school. I had some muscles, but I was not the most muscular guy in school. And somehow the simple act of ignoring her and just focusing on my goals instead, I was watching Hamza, First Man at the time, just doing that and ignoring her a bit, not paying much attention. Just, it's treating her as a normal human being, not treating her as a god on a pedestal. Somehow that snapped something in her. Snapped something in her, and she started liking me, and that was crazy. Obviously she didn't come and confess it to me, but I had some doubts, and it just felt unreal, like a fat nerd like me, because the core identity doesn't just vanish away. It's still there inside all those layers of being, the guy on self improvement and the guy who's muscular. This core identity of being the fat nerd still says there's, even now, even 5 years later, it's still here. Damn, it's been 5 years. Fuck. But yeah, that identity of being the fat kid is still here. I don't think there's much that can be done about it, except for, literally get proof otherwise, build a ripped physique, go out with girls, and then the new identity forms somewhere. But still, that was the first girl I attracted, and it was amazing. Like I said, things weren't as apparent. I was just making observations that she might like me and stuff like that. And after a while, this continues on for months. I'm in her friend circle, so we sit together often, we're talking often. Sometimes we flirt, sometimes we make eye contact for literally a whole minute, like a whole 60 seconds. In the middle of class, the teacher is teaching, the kids are there, writing on the notebooks or whatever. And me and her, we just have eye contact like this for 60 seconds, unbroken eye contact. And that should be my fucking cue, but whatever. After a couple of months, she amps it up. She confesses to me, and I just say, like, I always had an idea in my mind that I won't really date any girl till I'm earning my own money. And obviously, I'm in India, so earning your own money is a thing in distant future, after you graduate, after you get a job, then that is the first time people earn money. And in fact, for majority, like a big proportion of people, they don't even get jobs and they start preparing for these government exams, which I think is a big psyop, an expose video on that coming soon. But they start preparing for government exams till they're 30 years old, and after that they give up and then get their first job, or they succeed in the government exam and they get their first job as a clerk. Like, are we fucking real? Like, is this real life? But anyways, that was my goal. I would not date any girl. I would not, have fun times, like go to parties or stuff like that, until I was earning my own money and I could just spend my own money, not take it from my parents. And so I told her, no, like, it's not a good time for me. I have these ideals and stuff like that. And the thing is, after that, she started liking me even more. In fact, there was one point where I was, obviously I was attracted as well. She was a hot girl, a popular girl. And so I was getting attracted and kind of, fucking things up here and there in my own discipline and my schedule. I literally shaved my head off one morning randomly after working out on my roof, just so that, she takes her attention off of me and then I can focus on my goals. Plus, I always wanted to just go bald once, because if you watch First Man, you know that concept of every man is actually a 3 out of 10, and many people realize it after they shave their head off. That didn't work. She just thought I was going through some weird phase for 2 weeks and then things were back to normal. And the interesting thing starts next. If you haven't really experienced attraction from girls like before this, there's a superpower when it comes to attracting girls, and it's called pre-selection. What pre-selection means is a girl who sees you as a possible prospect to date or to like, they will be much more likely to, fall for you if you already have girls around you that, have fallen for you. So, for example, if there's a girl, let's call her A. So, A thinks I'm kind of, decent. I'm a decent guy and I'm not a fucking idiot and I could probably be a good partner. She will overthink on it, procrastinate on it, really think that out for months and months until I do something myself, or ultimately, after being a friend for a year, then she falls for me. This thing changes when there's already a V that is a popular girl who openly likes me, because, people can see, people aren't fucking blind. And so when V already likes me and A has that first spark of attraction, suddenly that spark catches fire. And all of a sudden, the whole year of, prospecting me and staking me out, everything of that just vanishes. And instead, that initial attraction, it's already a fire, because other girls who are at her level or better like me already. This is basically called pre-selection, and pre-selection is really important. In some other video, I'll probably go into depth of how to actually start using pre-selection to your advantage. But anyways, that was pre-selection, and things were still going on with me. We flirt, we do this, we do that. It's a situationship, because obviously she wants to get in a relationship with me and I don't. After that, A comes into action. A was an old friend back when I was in 9th grade and still fat and a nerd. She was just a platonic friend. Me and my whole friend group of fat nerds, she was a platonic friend. And she came to school after a long while. I hadn't really seen her in a while, so I just started talking to her. Asked where where she had been. She actually had tuberculosis, like TB, for months, and somehow she was still studying through all of it for like college entrance exams. So big props to her. Hard worker, really hard worker. And after like talking to her for 1 or 2 days, I think she started developing feelings as well, because she looked really jealous when I was talking to V, and V looked really jealous when I was talking to A. And so I started this whole fight. I started this whole guerrilla warfare. Honestly, I kind of liked it. Like, maybe I'm a bad person for it, but seeing two girls fight over me, that's really fun. I'd probably like to do it sometime again in the future. But that started, you know, I wasn't texting V because she had really strict parents and they wouldn't allow her to have a phone pretty much. She wasn't on WhatsApp, but I was regularly texting A. She, somewhere down the line, she started going a little crazy. She used to send me weird things at night, a random video of a rabbit just running around on her bed at 2 a.m. in the mornings, things like that. And one morning I wake up at 4 a.m., my usual wake up time, and see a huge, probably 1,000-word text from A telling me how she likes me and she has feelings for me and she'll treat me right and all this stuff. I tell her the same thing. I'm not really interested. Unless I'm earning, I'm not really looking for a girl. And then she says, oh, no, it was a dare from my friends. And then she started sending screenshots. Like, I would have agreed that, okay, it's a dare, but that whole explanation thing where she's sending screenshots after screenshots of a friend without the names actually, and without the timestamp of her friends asking her to do a dare, that kind of sold it for me. Like, didn't sell it for me. So I was like, yeah, shut the fuck up. You just like me and now you're backing out. Be a man, have some balls. And after that, well, since I wasn't really throwing any bone to V, she started talking to this new guy in school only. And that kind of, that made me a little jealous, because obviously, like I said, I wasn't as mature. This was the first time I was attracting girls. She started talking to him, sometimes after class I would see her hanging out with him, and that kind of, just pissed something off in me. I was like, nah, I'm about to go in my own hoe phase. I literally went on to YouTube, found Andrew Tate's pirated course of PhD, like pimping hoes degree. And after finding that course out, making notes, I started my whole phase essentially. Like, there was this girl in my bus, let's call her D. I started talking to D about what book she was reading. She was actually reading Twilight. And I just started like shitting on Edward, like, oh, he's a vegan vampire, he doesn't eat humans. And I started talking about Cars, which is like the vampire god from JoJo's, if you've watched. And that goes on really well. She catches feelings for me as well. She's bringing me like these chocolates and stuff. Probably out of these three, she was the least likely girl I would like from my side. But she started bringing me these chocolates, and the girls' network, they start hearing from their friends about their friend, about their friend, about their friend. And that's how this news reaches V. And she stops like hanging out with the new guy. She starts hanging out with me again. And then whenever we're sitting in the library and stuff, she's giving death stares to D, like the new girl. And they have their own guerrilla warfare that I'm not a part of, that I would like not to be a part of. That happens for a while. And, well, ultimately, one day, like, things are just going like this. I think things are actually improving because I'm getting a bit soft. I'm getting a bit complacent. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Maybe a relationship with B doesn't sound so bad. But one day she's with her friend and she comes to me like we're sitting. She takes me to the library essentially. And in there, she tells me that another guy, let's call him S, has asked V out and she's considering it because obviously I'm not interested in a relationship. And so she and her friend kind of throw an ultimatum at me that you either agree to go out with V or she's gonna go out with S. And I'm like, fuck y'all. I don't bow down to ultimatums. If you wanna give me an ultimatum, get the fuck out of here. I don't care. And the next day, V was with S. And it did hurt. It did in a sting. Like I said, I didn't have the abundance mindset back then. I was just emulating what I had learned from Hamza and First Men, like stick or twist, not to stick where you are. Instead, twist and try to go a little bit higher, improve further. And she's now with S. A is, like I said, I didn't, agree to date her as well. And she started calling me a misogynist because I think one of her friends told her that I was a misogynist. She started calling me a misogynist and weird things. And obviously, her friend group started trolling her because I liked V because of that. And then eventually, D asked me out and I said the same thing, like not interested. I'm focusing on myself after whatever. I didn't explain the whole story, obviously. And eventually, school ended. Well, I'm pretty sure V still like me because on Scribble Day, like the last day of school, where you write stuff on people's uniform, she actually wrote the one true Rizla or something like that. It's really cringe, but I fucking like it. Like, I'm not gonna lie. The one true Rizlord after she's with that other guy, like, man, like imagine you like a girl and you pursue her and you finally like get in a relationship with her and then you find out that on Scribble Day, she wrote on not even her ex, like there was never a relationship, but on her crush, like ex-crush, on her ex-crush's shirt that he was the only true Rizlord. And man, that was fucking amazing. Like, run it back again. I want to run it back again, bro. Like, the thing that does to your self-esteem and confidence is like on another fucking level. Like, attracting for girls for the first time and then seeing them fight over you and then, shit like this, they're cucking out their boyfriend just to drop a compliment on you. Amazing. Like, not even that, just knowing you like scarred a girl for life. Like, remember the girl who sent me like the rabbit videos? One of our mutual friends, he tells me like she's still in trauma. Like, if anyone says your name, if anyone talks about Rehan, she like flinches. And you might think I'm like a really bad person for this. Like, I'm a fucking horrible person, but whatever. Like, I spent the first 16 years of my life being like the bottom of the barrel, the fat nerd, the everything opposite. And then getting a taste of this new life and this new social hierarchy. It was fucking amazing. I would do all of it once again without changing anything. I think this video has gone on for long enough. My name is Rehan. I'm a 20-year-old guy on self-improvement for a couple of years. I made progress in some things. I still struggle with others. But if you're someone who can relate, if you're a young man on self-improvement as well, I'm pretty sure you'll find real value on this channel. Sometimes I yap about these things. Sometimes I give my opinion on controversial things. Sometimes I just drop simple how-tos like how to be more disciplined. If you have this problem, do this, do that. But that is kind of boring. This is where it's at, me just exposing myself to the internet. But that's about it. Yeah, see ya.